So first of all, welcome everyone. Thank you for those who are tuning in right now. My name is Manny Akutiel, and this is our Manny Super Civic Cyber Conversations, where we are engaging the public civically in issues and questions of the day in this time of need. You can tag us at Welcome to Manny's, and also you can become a sponsor of Manny's. We're going to put the link in the Q&A box. And we're so honored and so excited to have the CEO and co-founder of Twitch, Emmet Shear.
Hello.
Is it Twitch TV or Twitch?
We just call it Twitch now. It used to be Twitch TV back in the day. So either one works.
Got it. So you call it Twitch now, but Twitch TV, it was the old name. All right. So
yeah,
Emmett, today we're going to talk about just for like 20 minutes. And for folks who are tuning in, if you have questions for Emmett, you can type them in. I'm really excited about this topic because it's so topical. And that's kind of live streaming, live watching in the age of social distancing. And to be honest, like, you know, you and I have had a couple conversations about this, and I really didn't understand the appeal of watching other people do stuff online. But Twitch has been doing it for a while, and, you know, with a lot of success. And so I'm interested to hear about the story of Twitch, and then also how you're thinking about live streaming today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we started with live streaming Justin's life around the streets of San Francisco. And only later moved to watching video games and the Twitch idea, which is having people watch each other play video games and creating community.
Wait, sorry, back up.
Yeah.
The decision to live stream Justin's life, like, what was that about? Where did that come from? Did he have such an interesting?
We thought his life was pretty interesting, and he really wanted to be a star. So we thought it would be good to, you know, we could create a real reality television show about his life that was actually 24/7, unedited, uncut. It turns out an unedited, uncut 24/7 reality TV show is a terrible idea. Reality TV really relies on editing to make it fun and interesting.
Mm-hmm. How long did that last, that early thing?
I mean, in earnest, maybe 3 months, and it took us about 6 months to turn the camera off.
Oh my God.
But
all right.
Yeah, it was intense. It turns out there was a lot of psychological strain carrying around a camera 24/7, having people comment on what you're doing on the internet and tell you that you're, well, why'd you do that? Go here, go to that. They make fun of you. So yeah, it was tricky.
Successful. And then when did you pivot into like people watching people play games?
End of 2010, beginning of 2011.
Okay.
We were trying to figure out what to do next. The let people live stream their lives thing wasn't really working. Okay. And so we were trying to figure out the next phase. And what I liked was the video games.
And I'm going to ask this and I mean this with, I hope no offense. I hope you're not offended by the question, but I don't understand it. Like, I don't get why. Explain to me what happens when someone, like, explain to me, like, why it's been so successful. Like, what exactly do you think you've tapped into and you've hit that's made it so that so many millions of people are so glued to watching someone else play games? Because I always thought the fun in playing games was playing it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I certainly think the fun in playing games is in playing games. It just turns out that in addition to the fun of playing games, people like to hang out, they like to chill, and they like to connect with other people who share their interests. And so most of the people who watch on Twitch, I can't go as far as to say all, but probably almost all of people on Twitch really like video games. They like playing them. Yeah. And when they're not playing them, they want to talk to other people who like playing them. Yeah. And that's what makes it happen.
Can they talk with each other while someone's playing a game? Like, oh, look at what Emmett just did. Like, that was a bad move. And do you see a lot of people who are viewing?
Yeah, there's a whole chat room going. I mean, sometimes we don't have the chat room set up in this Zoom, but like sometimes you're in a Zoom like this, and there'll be a little, you know, the 32 participants will be having a little chat with each other.
We did have chat, but trolls kept coming into my Zooms and calling me horrific things and saying the most inappropriate, nasty things to me, and so we had to disable chat, which sucks.
I might recommend trying it on Twitch, where we have extensive and powerful moderator tools, and including automated moderation and also manual moderation that solves that problem for anonymous chat on the internet.
Yeah, Zoom doesn't have that, which is so
Yeah,
annoying.
so maybe this next, the next one of these, maybe we should have done this one on Twitch. We could have
I asked
tested it
you,
out.
I
But
emailed you, I said, should we do this on Twitch?
I had too many things going on. As you can
Yeah.
imagine, a lot of people right now have a need for connection. They have a need for community. They have a need to connect with other people around the things they love, and just to find a break from the social isolation of being alone. And Twitch provides that. So as you can imagine, we have a lot of people showing up and using the service right now, and that's been keeping me pretty busy.
Are they
But
using it for non? I know that Twitch was doing DJ sets because I was invited to some Twitch DJ sets, which I was super excited about. But was it kind of like all games before, and then you had to quickly figure out how to do Twitch for non-gaming things?
Yeah, we've had non-gaming coming for a while, but it's really accelerated it. We've gotten a ton of interest from music. It's really blown up.
Yeah.
People are doing a lot more talk shows, a lot more Q&A stuff like this.
Yeah.
So so yeah, it's we have quite a selection going.
Don't hate me for not doing this on Twitch. I did make the effort. I did ask, so don't hate me.
Yeah, I'm not hating. I'm glad that you.
Do you have a cult-like status within the Twitch community?
I don't know. I think that most people who use Twitch probably have no idea who I am, which is probably for the best.
Okay.
But certainly some people do. I've never been. I mean, I enjoy answering questions. I enjoy like talking to people. I've never been someone who wants to go be a star celebrity performer. So I don't stream regularly.
And just as an announcement or note to our folks who are tuning in now, if you have a question for Emmet Shear, you can type it into the Q&A box now. You don't have to wait till we get to the Q&A section, which is going to be in 10 minutes. So if you have questions for Emmet, just go ahead and type them in now. So a lot of people are talking about whether or not this temporary shutdown, which has driven people to use live streaming, myself definitely included, might result in a longer term shift about the way people communicate and work. Do you think that's true?
I absolutely think it's true for work. I've noticed myself already, as we've done more and more video conferencing, asking myself, why was I flying for that meeting? Why did we need everyone to be hired in the same office? Like, this works pretty good. Not for all kinds. Obviously, it's hard to run a restaurant or hard to run something like Manny's remotely. But if you're working in an office, it's not clear why everyone needs to be in the same space all the time. I think there is a lot of value to people being in the shared space, having that shared community, but I've certainly learned, I think, that you can just it's so much easier to do it remote than I realized, now that we've been forced to try. And I think that shift's gonna be fairly permanent. I don't think we're gonna see a shift away from people wanting to gather together in public. I think it's hard. I want to go out and like have fun and like go to a restaurant and go to a concert. Yeah.
I just got a thrill for getting a to-go falafel burger. I mean,
right.
Starved.
That's exciting.
We still have a month and 3 days minimum. I interviewed Mayor Breed yesterday.
I quitted the day.
He was like, Mayor Breed was like, don't get excited about May 3rd. You know, like don't mark your calendar because it may be longer than that. And like that.
Yeah.
How do you think, taking the live streaming CEO hat off, like how do you think how do you think social gathering is going to change after this? I mean, obviously there'll be a quick bounce back, but then like, do you think there'll be longer term ramifications to the way we gather and how we think about gathering?
I think there's going to be a period of probably a year or two while we're still trying to, like, we don't have a vaccine and we're still trying to, the virus will come back probably, where there'll be some, less big gatherings, less hugging strangers. But I don't necessarily think so. I think that people have a intrinsic need and desire to see other people, to connect to them. I don't think computers are yet a substitute for that. maybe someday with full 5 sensory VR, we'll be able to do it remotely, but um, I don't think so yet.
Well,
Um,
of course, in
I
the next,
think
go ahead.
I was to say that I think the longer term ramifications will be on the places where streaming really is a better answer. People will discover there's a bunch of places where, oh, streaming is a great way to experience this, and whether that's work calls. I would be much more likely. The truth is, I love coming by Manny's, but I'd be much more likely to tune into a Zoom call more often because it's an easier thing for me to jump on, right? Like I can't necessarily make it into the Manny's during the workday,
Yeah, yeah.
but I can join a Zoom call.
It's interesting. We've had, even though the space is closed, the amount of people who participated in some respect in our programming is a lot higher. I think we had over 1,500 people yesterday throughout the day of our calls. I'm interviewing Michael Pollan at 5 o'clock, and there's 3,000 people who registered for that. And there's just no way that it could have fit 3,000 people in my space. Of course, you and I have talked about this, and I'm still very excited to go back
Hmm.
to physical presence because I think there's something very special there. Um,
For sure.
let's talk about your company. So how many people work for Twitch?
Got about 1,800 employees right now, something like that. I don't know, 1,500. It bounces around. Depends on how you count them.
Okay. And how are they doing?
Um, they,
What's going on?
I think, are generally doing pretty well. A lot of them, I mean, I don't get to talk to all of them, and I think some of them are really struggling. It's really, I mean, I'm struggling to some degree. It's hard to stay home.
Yeah.
I think it's particularly hard on parents.
Yeah.
People are used to having schools, childcare, having to take care of your kids all day and also work a job, and all, like it's a lot. I really feel for the parents. I
Yeah.
think that's the place where people who are taking care of elderly relatives, like that's if you have dependents, I think it's particularly difficult right now. And we just started offering Ginger, which is this sort of scalable mental health services for employees, and I think that's going to help.
I was like, Emmett, Ginger's not going to fight coronavirus. That's not going to work. You know what I mean? I thought you were like, we've been offering
No, it's
all
not.
staff to put in their
No,
tea.
not the food. Not the food.
Not the food.
Yeah.
So you and I, can we talk about the voting thing? Are we allowed to? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's the thing I want to talk about actually is as SF New Deal. So, I think the biggest threat from coronavirus right now that we aren't necessarily on top of completely is what it's doing to small businesses, right? Manny's has managed to sort of make a bit of a transition to something virtual here, but for a lot of restaurants, for a lot of cafes, for nail salons, for hairdressers, you really can't run your business right now, and a
Right.
lot of small businesses are in real trouble as a result. And I think that's the impact of that we're going to be feeling for a very long time.
Yeah, and I'm on the Small Business Commission of the city, and I'm in conversation with a lot of people whose jobs it is to fight for small businesses, and I'm also very worried about it. Obviously we're doing these conversations, but I'm a coffee shop, I'm a bar, I'm a restaurant, I'm a bookstore. None of that is coming in, and these calls are free, right? So our revenues have gone down 95% basically, and so that's with high overhead, some of which has not changed. That is a very scary picture. Now, most small businesses in my bracket, in eating and drinking places, do not have a ton of money in the bank stored up. A lot of them are just barely skating by. So even if their landlords are giving them an abatement of rent, but that rent is expected once this is all over, how is a business with $15,000 in the bank supposed to deal with a $30,000, $40,000 bill in 3 months? Not to mention, all the other bills with starting back up. So it is a very scary time. What do you think we can do to save our small businesses?
So I put $1 million behind SF New Deal. And SF New Deal is a program that pays small food businesses to stay in business, to keep producing food, and then to deliver it to people in need who, as a result of coronavirus,
Yeah.
don't have access to the food they would otherwise.
Yeah.
And we don't want people congregating in food banks right now. That's not the right way to get people fed. We don't want people waiting in lines.
Right.
We need those places that they normally go to be shut down. And this is the sort of solve one problem with another approach.
Right.
And I think that I would encourage people, if they can, to donate to SF New Deal. We're at sfnewdeal.org. But I think we all need to find ways to support our local businesses like that. I think, San Francisco is in the fortunate position that a lot of the economy can go on because a lot of it's virtual.
Yeah.
But that means that people who have their business ongoing have to make sure that when this ends, there's still a city to come back to. There's still a local economy that's running.
And, the longer that we're sheltering in place, the more businesses are just going to say, I just can't reopen. Yesterday, Café de Soleil in the Lower Haight just announced that it was not reopening. And I think, unfortunately, as this goes on, we're going to see more and more announcements like that. This is something I do think a lot. Oh yes, tech companies. The other thing that puts San Francisco and the Bay Area apart from a lot of other major metropolitan areas is that we do have we are the innovation capital of the world, according to some people. I'd say we are. And we also have a large collection of companies where people are typically paid relatively well, and also with CEOs that are paid relatively well, and there's a lot of capital in the city. What do you feel like is the responsibility and the duty of a technology CEO in San Francisco right now? And do you feel like folks are showing up the way they should be? You said
I think, generally, I think, clearly this is a time for civic leadership. It's time for people to contribute. Everyone in tech who's been given a ton by the city and very fortunate to benefit from that. If there's ever been a time to give back, now is the time to be giving back. I feel that very strongly. And I'm working on the restaurant, the food side. That's sort of the most immediate, obvious thing. But there are lots of small businesses that aren't in the food business. And what do we do about them? And there's lots of people who need childcare. And what do we do about them? And they can't stay at home and take care of their kids and keep their job, even if it is remote. And so I think it's it's time for every it's particularly tech CEOs, but also I just think generally anyone who's been benefiting from broadly, the more you've been benefiting from the existing previous situation, the more it's your responsibility to step up now. And I think that to be fair, I've really seen some of tech really step up. I've been incredibly impressed by Ryan at Flexport and his work. Flexport they're a logistics company that does import export, and he has just been moving masks and ventilators and driving the thing that his company can really do. And he just turned his whole company's sort of a huge amount of its focus towards being able to supply that logistical need. I think that's really amazing and really cool work. And I see Patrick at Stripe doing similar kinds of things. So I do see our community stepping up, but there's so much I'm sure that in the process of all this happening, there are small businesses that are being missed. There are people who are in need who are being missed. I think it's on all of us to take care of our neighbors right now.
Yeah. And what about, as it relates to civic participation? I know you've talked about voting and folks, being able to vote. How do you feel like, one, we bounce back from this to make sure that we win the election in 2020? And also, how can you as a business leader take leadership over making it okay for people to vote?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing on the voting front as we come towards the election is clearly enabling remote voting. We've been able to remote everything else. And obviously, I don't know, by November, maybe we won't be sheltering in place and we'll be able to go into the polls. It'll be fine. Yeah. I don't know. But if not, we better be prepared to run the election remotely. Fortunately, California has vote from home, which I encourage everyone to register for. Yeah. But I had sort of big plans where I'm wanting everyone in Twitch to go to the polls and to we do an election day holiday, and we'd have everybody go do that. I'm not sure that's a good idea this year anymore. We may push really hard on the remote voting side instead. But I do think it's really important we motivate everyone to participate in our democracy this year.
Okay, and then my last question for you is, what would your one piece of advice be to employees of tech companies right now who want to be helpful, want to get involved, want to be part of the solution, but really are not sure how to or where to start?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to plug SF New Deal again. I think we're doing really good work. Lenore, who runs it, is a really great leader. We're already moving meals. We're already feeding people. We're keeping small businesses open. I think it's really working. And so I'd encourage you to, I've given a lot of money there. I think other people should give money there. But I also would encourage you inside your tech company to ask, what could we be doing? How can we leverage the tech we have for this? And I've seen actually Google's done really great work on this front, like getting COVID information out there. But I'd really encourage everyone inside of the tech companies to ask themselves, my company has certain things it's really good at. If you're flex for it, it's logistics. How do I apply the thing we're great at? Because you're going to get way better leverage there than just going and doing your own thing.
I mean, in a small way, that's kind of what these conversations are about. Like, what I can do is I can connect the public to folks who are working in these different issues, leaders. We just talked to Valerie Jarrett, who is President Obama's longest serving senior advisor, and she inspired 100 people right there on the phone. And so that's kind of my way of giving back. Right? Let's get some of these questions. Jeff 8 asks, hi, hello. We need a way to do high quality video solo theater shows from home that includes audience response to the performer, audio at least, and some audience by video, and a recording of the show afterwards. Thoughts?
So obviously I would pitch Twitch here.
Twitch.
We I think do a great job with streaming out performances. And what I would recommend is you set up the Twitch channel as the best way to show up, have the public show up and watch. You can have a chat room. It can actually have moderation that works, which is a big deal, as Maddie has discovered. But then, and we'll record it for you. We'll store it online. We'll help you export it to YouTube if you want. We're not picky about that. We don't try to trap your data inside of Twitch. But if you want call-ins, you can use Zoom, you can use Skype, you can use Google Hangouts. There's a ton of software that will let someone call in. And I encourage you to use Zoom for what it's great at, which is this kind of call-in show, and then use Twitch for what it's great at, which is sharing that stream to the public, recording it, hosting it.
Can people who don't have Twitch watch it while it's happening?
Yeah, no, you just can show up. We have mobile web, we've got a website, we've got a mobile app. You can just watch anonymously. You don't need to create an account or anything.
Got it. Jason Rubenstein. Hi. Oh, has Twitch seen a large influx of viewers, streamers in the last few weeks, and how have you been able to handle the load?
Yeah, so we've seen a huge spike of streamers and viewers. It's been a record banner traffic for us, obviously. People really need connection, so clearly they're finding it with us. I think it's great that we can provide that to people in this difficult time.
Bandwidth.
I used to say from handling the load point of view, we've done a pretty good job with the engineering of it. We have flexible capacity. We use AWS for that, obviously, as part of Amazon, and we've been able to scale up as needed to handle the incoming load. We've made some tweaks to the default bit rates we use, and trying to make sure we don't overwhelm the internet. But we've been able to scale up to handle things.
What do you think about this Zoom trolling, Zoom boxing? I don't know what the term is, but a lot of reports of Zoom actually, being easy to be trolled, easy to be hacked. A lot of kind of scary things coming out today and yesterday about Zoom. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think it's like an unfortunate thing that's happening? Do you think it's an issue with Zoom that, what's going on?
I would just say, like, Zoom is a great product. Obviously, we're here using it, and it's designed for the thing that it's designed for, which is having these kinds of like video chats and small group participation. Zoom wasn't built as a at least not in the beginning. Maybe that's what they're thinking about it now, but it wasn't built to be the, a public publishing platform.
Right.
It's video conferencing software, not publishing software. So there's not, it's not the same. And so it doesn't surprise me that there's, we've run into a ton of problems there over the years. We've fixed a lot of them. I would generally encourage people to, I think Twitch is a great solution for live video. And if you want to do a live video stream that you want to reach 10 people or reach 100 people or 1 million people, and you want something that's, for about public access and public streaming, I think Twitch is a great solution for that. If you want to have a private video conference with a bunch of your friends, I think video conferencing software is probably the way to go.
Damn, fuck, I think we made a mistake. We should have gone with Twitch. Jaden, how do you see, last question, Jaden, how do you see Twitch being used in the education sector as time goes on?
So we've definitely had, people do lectures on Twitch and that kind of stuff. We're not, we explicitly don't aim Twitch at school children. Twitch is a 13 plus website. We aim at teens and adults. Building a product that's aimed at children is a huge responsibility. Twitch explicitly is not.
Yeah.
So we're probably not going to aim at that end of education, at least not for a while. But we've seen some really cool college stuff, people going, sharing lectures. I think Twitch is great for when you have sort of an educational event. I think we support that use case really well. I'm not sure that we're going to be the day-to-day school software. But you never know. It's people are very clever in how they get used to tools. So I wouldn't rule it out.
So before we do close off and let Emmett continue to run the world over there in his apartment, I want to just point out that if you go to the answered portion of the Q&A, so the questions that have been answered, you'll see a link to become a sponsor of Manny's or to make a one-time donation. Manny's is shut down, and like I've said, we really do need the help. My small business needs your support, and we're asking everyone that's tuning into these calls to please go to this link. It's joinit.org/o/Manny's. That's joinit.org/o/Manny's, and help me continue to do this work. I love doing it. We are giving, this is a community service, but we do need your individual help to become a sponsor and make a donation to support Manny's. So I really appreciate all the folks who are here. I want to say, if you enjoyed this talk, you can tag us at Welcome to Manny's. Thank you to Sam for being our operator, and Jupiter and Ram. And Emmett, you are powerful and you have heart. And that is such an important combination, to have someone who is doing so much, but also is such a good person and has a good soul. And so I'm really just glad I know you, and I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. And I just sleep a little bit better at night knowing that Emmet Shear is running Twitch, I guess. That's how I feel.
I really appreciate you having me on, and I really appreciate the work you do. I think that we need people bringing the city together. We need the civic conversation, civic connection, and I'm proud to be able to be part of it. And I love my city.
We're doing that SF New Deal thing too. Thank you for supporting small businesses. We appreciate it. Okay. All right, Emmett. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.